to the view, every angle on you, from the sweat on your face to the roar in the blue. Welcome to the view, every second rings true. Sit back, lean in, yeah, enjoy the view.
Good afternoon, and you're very welcome along to The View, brought to you by Allianz, as we look ahead to this weekend's Allianz Hurling and Football Leagues. Well, coming up on the show, it is jam-packed. We've Bubbles O'Dwyer joining us to talk all things hurling a little bit later. We've Stefan Campbell and Podge Collins joining me in a studio. And also, joining us on the line now, he is a former Cork dual player and also on Gaeltacht midfielder Aidan Walsh. Aidan, how is things? Good to have you with us.
Thanks, man. Yeah, delighted that you asked me to come on. Here, Parton's England at the moment, so in respect. So, look forward to chatting to you for the next half an hour or so.
Oh, brilliant. Well, tell us, are you still celebrating that All-Ireland club title down there?
Yeah, no, we had a good few weeks there now. Right? We did our social last Saturday, so that's the end of it. Back to training now, back to flat to the mat. So, we've enjoyed it all right for sure. But no, it's good to be back at it and look forward to seeing our grade now this year. It'll be a big test for us, but we'll see what happens.
It was incredible, I think, to watch the club championship, and especially to see two neighbouring clubs with Gaeltacht and Dingle coming out on top in the intermediate and the senior. What was it like to have so many lads you know of? Obviously, there's family members and stuff in there, all intertwined. To have two clubs celebrating together must have been nice.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, to be fair. I like that now. I'm at Lowen, so I wasn't at the rivalry. I wouldn't be too familiar with the rivalry. But as the year went on, I think we both contributed to each other's success. If one was winning the next, or whoever was playing next wanted to probably entice them to win as well. So we kind of hopped off each other. But no, thankfully, both of us got over the line. And it was a brilliant few weeks. There was a lot of banter going on around, even through the Munster stages and the All-Ireland semi-final and final. So it was very interesting, very different, and just delighted that both teams were able to get over the line.
Well, on being a blow-in then, I remember reading that you were talking about speaking at Kind Gaeilge and how you had the Google Translate out for the WhatsApp messages. Yeah,
that's still the case. It's still learning way. It's fairly difficult, right? The way, especially the way they talk, it's just it comes so naturally to them, and they talk us so fast. So yeah, we get there eventually. We keep practicing in the end. As I said, football and GA is a great way to integrate myself into the community. So it's worked out so far now, thank God.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, I think it was amazing to see the club championship this year, lads. Podge and Stefan joining me now in studio. Stefan, for you, what is it like being back with your club now after stepping away from Armagh?
Yeah, it's probably an odd feeling for me this year. It's my first pre-season for the club since probably 08-09, given the minor under 20 and then going straight into senior. But we're moving well. Obviously the weather isn't helping things. So
shocking, isn't it?
We're struggling for pitches. The Ulster League's just started there. We're 2 from 2, so no complaints. But we've another block to go before the league commences. Have
you noticed any difference between maybe how it's gone up a level since maybe back then when you were saying you would have always been there training away to now coming back from being with County so long? Like, I think club, has it gone up maybe a level in the last while?
I would actually say so. I started my career with boy John O'Hagan, Bumpy, and there was no limits on his training. I can remember literally coming off running tracks in the Mid-Ulster Sports Arena in Cookstown, like literally throwing up. Now it's more sports science based. I would say pre-season probably is not as tough, but then that's maybe just me coming off the back of the county scene as well. So look, I hope the management aren't getting any ideas.
Yeah, you're super fit.
Yeah.
And for you, Podge, how's things playing away with the club?
Yeah, we're back training now the last month, and I'd agree with Stefan, just the kind of, I'd call it dogging nature of pre-season is definitely not as bad as it used to be, and I think there definitely is still a place for it. I'm not a sports scientist, but I definitely think there's a place for it still in the GA. That's kind of, they've gone away from it a bit, and probably might come back, but I'm enjoying it. And in fairness, like this year, I don't know if you have it in your club, Stefan, but lads leaving after training, like not going into the dressing room, or when I came on the scene first, everyone went in for a shower after training, like had a bit of crack in the dressing room, and there was like 30 lads, and you'd be chatting to everyone. Whereas since COVID, it's nearly gone. Everyone comes in sliders, and heads away after, hops into their car and showers at home because you're 5 minutes from the pitch or
Yeah.
whatever. So in fairness now, there's the lads, the management this year brought in tea into the dressing room and there's protein shakes and that kind of thing. So lads are hanging around and they're having a chat, and that's one thing I'd like to see more of in the club scene that is definitely we're bringing back in. So banning sliders now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd say it helps as well just to bring everyone together. Are you still playing football and hurling, or?
Yeah, still
Fair
playing
play.
hurling and football with the
Yeah.
club. So yeah,
Is it hard to keep doing the dual thing? Obviously, we've heard schedule issues, things like that, but even trainings as well.
I just love playing them. Do you know, they're two sports I really love playing, so I'll never complain about them, and it's just very enjoyable, and you just want to be playing games, and when you're successful, it's a lot more enjoyable, and probably like last year wasn't a great year for us, but you just want to win and you want to play, and it's just great going down with all the lads, and you've lads from, like I'm 34 now, brother's 36 still playing, we feel like a good group of lads around that age, and we've young lads coming in like 18, 19, 20, like it's great just to be around them in the club and getting the pre-season again and getting hurling and playing a bit of football.
Brilliant. You can't beat it.
No.
Good stuff. Well, let's take a look then at this weekend's Allianz Football League Division 1 fixtures. In Croke Park, it is the latest instalment of one of Gaelic football's greatest rivalries when the Dubs take on Kerry. Also tomorrow, there is an all-Connacht affair of Galway against Roscommon. Then on Sunday, Monaghan welcome former forwards coach Andy Moran and his Mayo side to Clones, and Armagh, they take on table toppers Donegal. In Division 2 then, Derry and Offaly face off tomorrow night. Then the standout fixture is the top of the table clash between Cork and unbeaten Meath. Then on Sunday at 2 p.m, that is the Cork and Meath. Louth take on Tyrone at the same time, and an hour later it's Cavan that hosts Kildare. All four Division 3 games take place on Sunday. You've Sligo that hosts Limerick, Clare take on Laois, Westmeath they go up against Fermanagh, and Wexford take on Down. And then in Division 4, top of the table Carlow take on Waterford, Wicklow welcome London, Leitrim host an Antrim side looking for their first points of the campaign, and Longford, they take on Tipperary. Yes, so loads of action to look forward to this weekend, and I think there's only one place to start, and that is Division 2. Meath against Cork, not just because I'm a Royal, but it is one of the biggest fixtures, I think, for the weekend, Stefan. How do you see this one going? Two teams in flying form.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more intriguing games of the weekend. Two teams that are evenly matched. As you say, they're flying. They flew out the gate. They're 3 out of 3. I think Meath had the tougher start. Obviously the scorelines, which is just so, because obviously Jack Ryan's heroics in the final minutes of both games, kicking 2-pointers. He's kicked them out of the stadium, really.
Yeah.
Whereas Cork have maybe cruised, especially last weekend against maybe an understrength Offaly side. But I think there's more pressure this weekend on Cork to get the result, not just because it's at home. I think because they still have Tyrone to come, they still have Derry to come. It looks like Derry might get the 6 points this weekend as well, being at home to Offaly. So I think there's more riding on this one for Cork, and obviously with Meath, if they lose it, the pack are coming. Tyrone have started to kick into gear as well, albeit looks like they're losing Dara Cannon for a while, but the pack will close because it's such a tight league campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a big one, and the fact that the two teams are doing so well in Division 2 at the minute, Aidan, for you, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, similar to what Stefan said there, I think it's definitely the first proper test for considering the top four. I think Meath, Tyrone, Derry, Kildare, they even going by the table there. No, Cork have played the bottom three teams at the moment so far. So this will be a great test for Cork, and I suppose they're lucky in the sense that they're playing it at home and it's on in Pocky Ring, which will be a big help to the footballers, because I suppose when they play in Pocky Queeve, it's such a big stadium that obviously the crowds won't be as big, so it'll bring the atmosphere in tighter, and the Cork public are just mad to get behind the team, behind Cork footballers, and if they get if they can get a result this weekend, it'll be huge for them going forward, because that'll just get the momentum building, and it's all about just every game. If they can get a string of good results together, I think it'll be great for the group, and it'll be a great test for them, and there'll be some great battles on the field next Sunday. So yeah, it'll be a tight one. I think it'll definitely be a score between the two teams. It'll definitely go down to the wire, but it should be a great battle, and it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, definitely will. You mentioned Parky Rin there. I did wonder, do you think that it will have much of an effect that it is there this weekend?
Huge, yeah. Even last year, the Cork played Donegal in championship in Pockering, and I was at that game that day, and it was a brilliant occasion because I don't know, have you ever been in Pockering? But it's the stands are right on top of the field, and it just feels very compact, and especially if it's a massive crowd, it can hold about 12 to 15,000 people. So if you have that in an environment where it's on top of the field, it definitely stands to the team, and it definitely can get behind the group and create momentum for the team. Because if you had 15,000 people in Park Queeve, it's not the same atmosphere. It's a lot different. So it'll have a huge effect on the result, I think.
And I believe it's the Zach Bryan concert is the reason that, obviously in the summer, the Zach Bryan concert will be on, but just getting used to Perky right now is the reason. Zach Bryan, are we a fan at all, Stefan?
No, but my daughter is.
Oh, no way.
We've got tickets for the summer, so we'll be looking forward to that.
Oh,
one.
good stuff.
Yeah.
When it was announced, like, it was one of these things of like, who was Zach Bryan? 50% of people. The other 50% of people were like massive fans. I was like, am I living under a rock or what's going on here? For you, Podge, what camp are you in?
I know, I'd listened to a few of his songs, but wouldn't be a big fan. But just on the game, like Cork, one thing that Cork have a massive advantage on is that they wanted to do long kickouts before the new rules came in. So they were going direct to like one side of the field and overloading those breaks. So I feel like when these rules came in, they had an immediate advantage. And I think this is their second year of the new rules. And I think they're the side that like I'm most interested to see against the likes of Meath, Tyrone and Derry, and see how that goes, because Meath are obviously very physical, very strong around the middle. So this matchup, like, it'll be really interesting. Like, they were one of the first, I think, to pioneer this kind of long kick out.
To back you up, when I think of teams pressing high, even in the old rules, like Cork spring to mind. I remember going down the Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and like I've never been. We talked about Mayo pressing high over the years, back 15, 16. This Cork team was exactly the same. Probably just a wee bit naive at times, and that's why they maybe didn't compete. Maybe outside of Munster, but the back, I think they have had an advantage because they're so used to playing that high press, going back 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah, and you can see it in their play as well.
Yeah.
For Meath, they've been so impressive up front. They've got so many players that can take their scores and the 2-pointers. Matthew Costello, he's been standout for them, and unfortunately he's going to be ruled out through injury. How much of a loss do you think he'll be to that side now, Stefan?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. It's going to be a huge loss. Obviously, you've Jordan Morris and Jack Flynn are taking all the headlines at the moment, but Matthew is flying under the radar here. I remember he came to the Flatter Grounds a few years ago, and I ended up marking him inside, and I wasn't aware of how big he was until I was standing beside him. He must be 6'3", 6'4", and he strips out even bigger because it was a mismatch in me. But in terms of his efficiency, it's gone through the roof. He's kicked 0-8 now in the first 3 rounds. He's also a huge asset in the air for the restart. So Robbie and Aaron are on the record saying recently that they're happy with their squad. They've improved their depth. So for them, it's a case of next man up. But they have a hell of a job to replace what his output, in the early rounds. Yeah,
he's been so impressive, and I think midfield will be interesting as well, Aidan. The fact that Meath have such a strong midfield, and Cork do as well, and there probably will be Jack Flynn and Colm O'Callaghan coming up against each other. This is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. I'm not sure will they actually mark each other because they're such attacking. They can have such a threat going forward. It'd be interesting if they will be marking each other. But yeah, they're hugely confident. Their confidence is very high at the moment. They're even watching the Gaffley game last. Colm kept putting himself in good positions, and he got 2 great goals just by continuing his run. So, and like Jack is massive scores so far in the league, and his confidence. He wants the ball. He wants that. Even the last 2 games, he got the last two pointers to win both games, and that's just a pure sign of a man that's oozing confidence that he wants the ball to get the opportunity to win the game for the team. So, yeah, it'll be huge. That'll be the deciding factor, I think. Who will win the middle of the field, and whoever comes out, whoever scores the most between the two of them will definitely have a big say and who comes out with the win next Sunday. So yeah, it'll be very interesting.
2 strong physical teams for sure. We're looking forward to that one. Well, moving on then to a big one in Division 1. It is obviously Dublin and Kerry here in Croke Park, and I think that has a factor as well, Stefan. Do you think it has the same bite as the rivalry would always have with Dublin and Kerry, or is it the fact that maybe just Dublin and where they're at the minute?
Yeah, I think we're all going to try and big it up.
Yeah.
The Kerry and Dublin of old, but if we're being honest, Dublin have slipped back to the pack. I think we need to probably stop judging this Dublin team on teams that went before them. I feel that maybe, although they won last week, probably should have been put to the sword by a poor Monaghan team. They were disappointing in front of goal. I think they missed 4 or 5 clear-cut goal chances. And I know it's a touchy subject at the moment, but if they took a few fisted scores, you know, the result might have been different.
Just in Armagh.
Yeah. So yeah, the result could have been different. I think Jack O'Connor probably will be the happier of the two, albeit throwing away a massive lead. They're struggling for consistency, but obviously they have 6, 7, potentially 8 players to go back into that team, and naturally that's going to bring what he's after, 70-minute performances.
Ger Brennan is trying to find that squad. He still has 50 players in it. Do you think that's too many people to have within a squad?
I don't believe so. I think because he's obviously not sure about a lot of them, but it's still early in some of their careers. I think there'll be a lot of maybe in-house games still going on at the moment to try and get his best 25 to 30 players. I know in 24 we carried 42, and it is hard to keep everyone happy, but like Ger's went on the record saying that he's looked at, give me the figure, 138 players.
I think it's 164.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So he's just not sure, but it's also an opportunity for one of them players, maybe 10 players, to put their hands up. He did threaten to throw a few of their more senior players.
We didn't see anything happen from that.
Yeah, so
not yet,
look,
anyway.
It's not happened yet, look, but he may have got the reaction in training. He got the result.
Yeah.
So he did get a bit of a bounce off that comment, I suppose.
Yeah, and Sean Bugler, he had quoted after the game saying that as a group we believe that we can win the All-Ireland. Do you still think that Dublin are All-Ireland contenders?
They wouldn't be in my top 4. I think there's obviously a lot of men in that dressing room. I'd say the spine's still there that have won 3, 4, 5 All-Irelands. So who am I to tell them lads that they're not going to win this year? But there's also a lot of young lads, this new crop that they're trying to pull through, that have yet to win or taste success at provincial level. And that's where I think Dublin's priorities should lie this year. I think they need to stay in Division 1, and then they need to go wrestle that Leinster title back from Louth before they start chatting about All-Irelands.
Yeah, I think that's a big factor. You have a lot of young players coming through as well to gain that experience. Aidan, for yourself then, and Kerry, the fact they're coming up to Croke Park, I think they'll be eyeing that one up to have a good performance here, because look, they might look at it for later down the line in the season. How do you see it going for them? And I don't think they would have been happy with that lead that they had against Galway. I think it was 12 points up at one stage.
Yeah, it's probably the best scenario for them after probably giving up such a lead the last day, playing at home in 3, to have the opportunity to go up to Croke Park against Dublin. It'll be and hopefully the weather will be okay for it. That it'll be an ideal situation for them to be able to play the way they can play. And any day you get the opportunity to play in Croke Park, will definitely stand to them. And they'll be disappointed with what happened last weekend, but I have no doubt they'll be ready to go for this weekend. And they might have a few lads back as well. A few of the Dingle lads might be back. I know they're back training, so they might be introduced back into the setup for this weekend. So there'll be even a stronger players that'll come off the bench for them this weekend. So yeah, it's an ideal scenario for them, as I said, and it will be tough for Dublin, no doubt. But like that, they'll take confidence from the game last weekend, and they showed good character there towards the end of the game, especially coming down when their more experienced players came on, and they produced good. So they'll take good things from that. So it'll be a good contest. If I was to pick who would come out of it, I probably would say Kerry with what they have at the moment, and like I suppose there you go with David Clifford, you're going to be in good shape. So it'll be a good contest, but I'd be probably more siding towards the Kerry win for underdogs.
You're always in safe hands with David Clifford. Well, looking ahead then to Galway versus Roscommon now. Both teams in good shape, you would say, especially for Galway after that draw against Kerry. They will definitely take that in the end. But for Roscommon, they've been flying high, I think, in this league. And they have talked about them being a bit of a yo-yo team. We heard Dermot Murtagh saying that this week as well, Stefan. Do you see them like that?
Yeah, to be honest, look, we've seen enough of them over the years, the last 10 years. They're well equipped, they're good enough to play Division 1 football. I just think that maybe they haven't got rewarded for some of the great football that they've played over the years, and that reward being points on the board to stay up. They've come down with us one year, they pipped us to the league on the way back up as well, so the quality's always been there. We always thought that maybe, but personally, they were always too nice to play against. Potentially these rules have eked out improvement in certain individuals, no more so than Diarmuid himself. You know, he seems to have gone to another level there recently. But I think their fortunes are going to change this year, and I am confident that they're going to go get enough points, not only to stay up, but the form that they're showing at the moment with the St Bridget's lads to come back, they could potentially push on and get at least another 2 wins in this division.
When you say they're too nice to play against, what do you want to see more of?
Just
the dark arts?
Yeah, the dark arts, the aggression, you know, maybe the off the ball. Like, I know when we get out of Ulster, we always would have, especially in the back door, you know, the previous era, we always wanted a team from Leinster, the Kildures, the Meaths, and then Roscommon would have fell into that as well, because there was so more, they allowed you to be much more expansive and allowed you to set up the attacks. And then I just felt that that's where their shortcomings came from. Whereas I don't think they flicked the switch. I think just Gaelic football just went naturally towards a more high-pressing game. There's a lot of emphasis now on getting the ball carrier's head down, getting the kicker's head down, and I think they're very good at that. But the personnel over the last number of years has helped, and obviously the success that the St Bridget's have had. I think they've maybe 5, 6, 7 players still to come in there too. So confidence is high in Roscommon, and why shouldn't it be?
Yeah, I don't think we're actually going to see them playing this weekend, the St Bridget's players. I think it's just Conor Carroll that's been named on the lineup at the minute. He's actually on the sub bench. So the fact that they have all of those players still to come back, but they're in such a good position, and their experienced players as well, Aidan, are playing so well. The likes of Enda Smith, you know, he's been really flying, and looks like he's back to the form that we've seen maybe the time of his All-Star.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely seem to be playing with a lot of confidence. I suppose Mark Dowd came in this year now, and he seems to be, I suppose, being a Roscommon man and being around Roscommon players for the last few years in the club scene. He's kind of gelling the group together, and they just seem to be playing a lot more for each other, and that's a huge thing for a team, especially like Roscommon. They're always capable of a big scalp every year. Every day you go out, you just don't know what they could produce. So if he can get that camaraderie and that fight in the group, that they'll have a big say this year and in the league and championship. So like that, with the St Bridget's boys coming back, they'll add another dimension to the group. They'll bring confidence. Group. I know they weren't so lucky enough to get over the line in the club final, but they did play with a lot of confidence, a lot of speed, and they'll bring. If you bring that kind of attribute or that type of player into a group, they're only going to make the group better. So I suppose with Roscommon, they've always had a very good 15, 16, 17 players, but just maybe that's create, or that personnel to come off the bench to get the team over the line probably has hampered them down through the years. But if they can get 25 upwards of players that are capable of producing the goods on the day, then that'll stand them big time. So yeah, it'll be a big year for Roscommon, as Stefan said, and it'll be this weekend now against Galway. No, you'd wonder what way they'd approach the game, especially when they could meet each other in championship. So it'd be, you wouldn't want to know if you're going to show your hand too much in the league when they're playing a Connacht team. But it should be a great contest, and I suppose Galway playing at home, they have a shot of injuries and stuff, so you wonder will that affect them going to the game this weekend. But it's a very hard one to call.
Well, Armagh Donegal then, a little closer to home for you, Stefan, on Saturday night in the Boxhead Athletic Grounds. It's always a fortress when you go there for a lot of teams. Andrew Murnan, that was the news that he is out with an injury at the minute. So who do you think is going to come into midfield for pure piggery? Is that what Kieran McGeeney said?
I could sense his frustration. You know, he was venting obviously at the result. He was probably having the pop of the FRC as well, and you know, and obviously in times going by, look, we can't forget that they've tinkered with the whole goalkeeping situation too. You know, and the back pass and where they can go to on the field and different scenarios. So he's probably feeling a bit hard done by. You know, he's built this plan over the last 6 or 7 years, and people in the boardroom have ripped it up on him, but I could sense a lot of frustration in him last week. But there's no doubt that it was a bit of tongue in cheek as well. That they'll have spent plenty of time on the training field there this week, working on that break ball, working on the timing of it. The skill element to it. But no, there was definitely tongue in cheek from Kieran. But there was also there was a pop at the
and it's raw.
Above.
It's raw when you're finished a game and you're straight into your interviews. But it's great that he tells us what he thinks, and he's such a character, and I think it's brilliant in the game. For Andrew Murnan then, how much of a loss is he, and who do we think might come into midfield?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking for him. Me and Andrew were close friends, we grew up in the same estate there in Tignavan. Andrew's one there where he struggled with a lot of injuries all his career, up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. They finally got him fixed, if you like. There's great work done in the background to try and get him out on the field, and he's got himself into such physical shape, and he's went to another level on the pitch. For me, he's probably Armagh's main man, definitely most consistent player this year. And when he gets injured, it's always the hamstring, and when it is the hamstring, it tends to be serious. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it's maybe a grade 1, and we're going to see him maybe in the latter stages. If not, fingers crossed, he's going to be available for the Tyrone game in the preliminary. But this weekend, in terms of his replacement, well, Ben Creeley's going to come in from the start. I think that's a given. We might see one other person drop out, and I'm not sure. I'm not privy to that information anymore. I haven't asked any questions, but I'm going to probably call a wild card, and that we're going to see from Rafferty with a outfield number on his back this weekend, just given the sheer size that Armagh's going to be giving up. Like, they've lost Andrew. Ben's probably the only one. Ben's 6'5", but there's not a lot of help around there. Like, Callum O'Neill's 6 foot, Ocean O'Neill's 6'1", and they've lost Conor Mackin, 6'1". They've lost obviously Rain, Niall Grimley. I wouldn't put myself in their league above my head, but they've lost a lot of size. I think Armagh could maybe drop off Donegal's kick out this week, and then let's see what they can do under their own. But they're giving up serious size, and I wouldn't rule out maybe, I know Giza ruled it out last week and said they're going back to basics, back to number 16, but
yeah,
he's a great asset in there also, so I wouldn't just rule that out.
Right, interesting. What a story so far. The fact that he can go from playing in goals, I know he does it for his club outfield as well, but it's just an unbelievable story. We're going to move on to Monaghan and Mayo. So an interesting one here, that Andy Moran was in with Monaghan last year as the forwards coach, so they're coming up against each other this season. And for Mayo, they've been going well last time out. Maybe a tough one to take, but a lot of learnings to be taken from that. But for Monaghan against Dublin, and the fact that they had so many goal chances, Aidan, and they just didn't take them, that's going to be a concern for them.
Yeah, I suppose it would be a concern, but I suppose this week they would have worked on it. I suppose the hardest thing is to get yourself in the position to get the opportunity to score. But in fairness, they were getting into some good positions. Maybe just the obviously the end product wasn't there, but decision making, maybe there was a better option to give that extra pass. But as I said, it's about getting yourself into positions to get the chances is the big one. But yeah, it'll be a big contest. The Mayo will be very disappointed with the way they performed last weekend. So this weekend, it'll be a hard one to call really. Monaghan are playing at home, which will definitely stand them. But yeah, both teams, it'll be a very tight game. I think it'll come down to a score between the two of them, because I suppose just the frustration from both sides. They'll definitely come out with more of a point to prove on both sides, or both setups, I think.
Okay, well, it is time now for the wild cards. So you can pick any team from any division that you think is going to cause an upset this weekend, or maybe just a team that people might not expect to come out on top this weekend. Stefan, we're going to come to you first. Who is your wild card and why?
I would love to say Armagh, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Cavan have a result in them this weekend. I think I've seen enough from the first 20 minutes against Tyrone last week. Tyrone's quality took over in the end. Dora Cannon clicked in the gear. Maglehome clicked in the gear. But Cavan are a dogged team. They have a lot of quality, and I think that they can get 2 points on the board this weekend. Okay,
there you go. Cavan, they are due a result. Aidan, for you, who are you going for? Who's your wild card pick?
Wild card, I suppose they haven't got a win yet this year in Division 1, but Monaghan, as I said, they're creating the chances, and if they can just convert them, they could definitely get a big win. And I think if they got a big win against Mayo, it'd stand them big time for the next 3 rounds, and going forward for them, because they have a good team. They have some great players in that group. So I think if they can get their first win this weekend, I think it'll stand them big time going forward.
Okay, so that's Monaghan over Mayo and Cavan over Kildare. Well, we're going to move on just before we get into our hurling chat in just a little bit. The GPA did come out with the playbook for 2026-28, and there's talk about more increased visibility for players in terms of media commitments, which was, I think, really great to see, and the fact that it's player-led as well was a really positive sign. For you, Podge, what did you make of it, and the fact that there could be more visibility for players? Is that a positive thing?
Yeah, I think it's really positive. I know like players' primary job is to get onto the field and perform, and that's what they think about, I'd say 90% of the time. But you just look at Johnny Maher during the week and then Murta previewing the Roscommon Galway game this weekend, and the amount of engagement that brings, and it increases like fans' engagement, it increases ticket sales, it brings more people to the game, it gets more kids involved in the game. Like, as a player, while you want to perform and get on the field and perform, you have a responsibility as well to grow the game. And while some of these like opportunities might be like sponsorships or commercial opportunities, which are great for players, like I do think it is important for them to engage with the media, and I think it's great that the GPA are leading this, like along with like a lot of other things involved in that playbook for the next 3 years. But I think it's a very positive thing.
Yeah, for you, Stefan, is it positive?
I'd be an advocate too. Look, I was going to reference the 2 interviews during the week from the 2 lads, Johnny and Diarmuid. I think the more exposure they get, the more connection they can have with the fans. I've seen different side. The Murda and Maher during the week. You know, when you come up against these lads on the field, they're tunnel vision. They don't speak. You just think they're machines. And then now they've sort of let the mask slip. Their personalities are coming out. I think that's great for the game, great for the connection. I think a lot of our players nowadays are self-employed as well. And if this extra exposure, you know, benefits them in some way. Look, we have to think about the players, but we also have to think about the person. If they're benefiting from that, maybe financially, look, I'm a huge advocate. I see no wrong with it.
Brilliant. Well, Bubbles O'Dwyer, he's live from Tipperary. How's things, Bubbles?
How are you doing, Ashley? Not too bad now.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Well, we're just chatting about the GPA and the playbook and the fact of more visibility for players and hearing from them more and their personalities. Do you think it's a positive thing?
Yeah, look, it can only be a positive, I suppose. You know, like getting more visibility from players, but as long as it doesn't affect players' preparation for big games, I think is probably the main thing. You know, some people might like to talk to media, others mightn't. You know, you do see nowadays when people are going in to play matches, they all have their AirPods in or their headphones on and stuff like this, and you know, they mightn't want to be bothered with any media duties, but. Look, when it comes to it, it'll probably be the big name players that are asked to do the bulk of it, and like Stefan said there, if they are going to benefit from it financially, I think a lot of players would be more inclined to come forward. But for the game itself and promoting it, and like you look at just for example the match tomorrow, if there was an interview from the 2 captains for tomorrow for Tip and Limerick League game, like you know that would bring a lot more exposure to it as well. But in the long run, it'll be very beneficial to promote the games, but as long as the players are comfortable with it and what they're being asked to do, then I can only see it being a good thing.
Would you have done it, Bubbles?
Yeah, look, it kind of comes down to suppose what kind of characteristics are being asked of you, what kind of game it's leading into and stuff like this, or so if you had a good game the week previous, or like there's a lot of things that come into play. I probably would have I would have been a fairly relaxed character going into games and things like that. But again, the character of players is different for everyone. You know, so like I'd have no problem speaking. So the manager probably wouldn't allow me to speak because I might let out something that he might be trying to hide or something, because I'm fairly loose with the tongue sometimes, but yeah,
we know.
But it can be only good. It can only be good for the game. Like, and if you see, say, Darragh Fitzgibbon coming into a match or Ronan Mark coming into a match and he's talking to people, like it creates a buzz and things like that. So it can be only good for the game going forward, as long as players are comfortable with what they're being asked to do.
That's it. It will change from player to player. And it is all about growing the game, but every player is not going to be up for it. And that is totally fine. For you, Aidan, what do you think of it all?
Yeah, I'm the same as the lads. No, I think it's great. I think it was only a matter of time before this kind of came on board. And I suppose the big thing is that I suppose managers, as Bob was saying there, managers probably are afraid that players might say something they shouldn't say. So like they're getting the opportunity now to get media training and all that. So that'll definitely make the players more confident in situations if they haven't done it previously. So that'll definitely stand them big time. But yeah, no, it's a huge step forward for J players, and like if it benefits players financially, that's what's anything will help. Especially the way the game has gone, it's so demanding. The time and financially, it takes a lot out for players. So yeah, no, it's brilliant for the game. And as I said, it was only a matter of time before it came on board with the J. So yeah, it'll only go off strength to strength, I think, going forward.
Brilliant, Aidan. Well, thanks so much. We're going to let you go. We'll chat to you again soon.
Thanks,
Thank you. And Stefan, you're going to sit tight. You're going to prep for Beat the Hooter a little bit later. We're going to turn our attention now to hurling, and let's take a look at this weekend's Allianz League fixtures. Yes, in Division 1A tomorrow night, Tipperary, they welcome Limerick to Thurles. On Sunday, Kilkenny take on Waterford, and Offaly and Galway both look for their first wins of the campaign. And in 1B, both Dublin against Wexford and Kildare against Clare take place tomorrow night. And on Sunday, Antrim, they face Carlow. So loads to look forward to there in the hurling. Podge Collins and Bubbles O'Dwyer joining us on the line as well. Loads to look forward to this weekend. And I think, Bubbles, there's only one place to start. Tipperary against Limerick. And Tipperary, they don't have the best record against Limerick. But do you think that might change this weekend?
Well, I suppose in recent times, in the last 10, 15 years, we probably don't have the best record against Limerick. Overall, we'd still have a better record. It's only a stat I seen there yesterday. But whether it'll change this weekend, I'm not 100% sure. It is a league game. I suppose Tipperary will be looking to bounce back after the Cork game, and then Limerick then are one from two, so they'll be going for it as well. Both have pretty strong teams out. Like Kyle Hayes is back for Limerick. Like that's a massive plus for them. And it's interesting to see that he's named at wing back with Will O'Donoghue staying at centre. But I don't think that'll be the case later in the year. But it will be a good game. Again, look, the conditions are going to come into it. Like the weather has been shocking for a long time now. But who wins? I'm not 100% sure yet. It might depend on the weather and if there's a few changes to either team, which I probably doubt. But I do think that both teams will be going for a win tomorrow night with the teams that are out.
And Limerick have won the last 12 games between the two sides. So it is a big one for Tip to maybe get one back here as well, Podge. The fact that they had the success last year, they're kicking on again this year, a lot of new players coming in. But from a Limerick point of view, we're still wondering where they're at. We saw them last time out against Kilkenny. But is this the game where we see what John Kiley's all about in this Limerick side?
Well, this is as close to full strength as we've seen Limerick so far this year. Like, it's a real statement of intent with that team. You've all the Fitzgibbon players back, all named in pivotal positions. And like on the bench, like Barry Nash isn't on the bench, he's missing. You've Diarmuid Burns on the bench, Keane Lynch on the bench, David Reedy on the bench, Sean Finn on the bench. Very strong bench. I think this is where, like you said, we're going to see what Limerick are all about. Like Tipperary last year played in the first round of championship, that Munster Championship. They played Limerick down in Tipperary, and every person I spoke about that game that week, it was like Limerick are going to win that game. And Tipperary just produced this performance. It was like a statement of intent. It's like, we are here. Because a year previously, 2024, they lost by 16 points in the Gaelic Grounds to Limerick. And that turnaround in the space of a year to draw with Limerick, like it's really been impressive. And they're going from strength to strength, really, Tipperary. And Limerick play better at home. They have a much better record in the Gaelic Grounds, and going down to Thurles mightn't be as good. They're used to the place, and I think John Kiley has targeted this game, and I think that's evident by his team, and it also suits that the Fitzgibbon competition is over as well.
It does, yeah, definitely, for a lot of teams as well. But one of the big talking points for Limerick since that Kilkenny game is the centre-back position. The fact that Declan Hannon retired in the off-season, he's such a big loss as a leader, and he just held his own really in that position for so long. So he's a loss, but the fact that Kyle Hayes then is out at the moment, you've Will O'Donoghue is there at the minute, we will be used to seeing Will in the middle of the field. Do you think it's his jersey to lose and he will stick in there?
Yeah, like Will, like is such a good tackling work rate player. That's the only thing that I think about when I watch Limerick. If I had Will on my team, Will O'Donoghue, I'd be putting him into midfield and I'd want him just tackling and working and not have to worry about holding the centre and holding that position. Like I felt like Declan, like one of Declan's biggest strengths, like Declan's obviously an unbelievably special hurler, played centre back when he was a young lad, went up in the forwards at Limerick in his early career and then went back to centre back and finished really strong. Great to read the game, great to know when to go and when not to go. But I think Kyle Hayes could probably be the answer. I agree with Bubbles on that, just because Will tackled so much and his work rate so good that Kyle will be more a natural fit.
And sorry, now I made a mistake there. Kyle Hayes is actually named at 7, so he was out, but he's back and he's at 7 tomorrow. So that's interesting in itself, Bubbles. What do you think about it all?
Yeah, it is interesting, but look, I think Kyle Hayes, it was a neck injury he was out with. Like I think they're just putting him in just to see how he goes. He's not going to be fully fit or anything like that. I do think when it comes to championship, the Kyle Hayes will be at 6. Whoever goes to 7, then it will be another call, Matthew Fitzgerald maybe. But I agree with Podge. I think Will O'Donoghue has to be midfield for this Limerick team, and then that'll then push Cian Lynch then forward to number 11. But look, they have options. The one I know there's a lot being made after the Kilkenny game about the centre back issue for Limerick, but like Declan Hannon, now I know last year he didn't start a couple of games and then he started wing back for one. But the year previous, he was injured for a while, and the year before that, when they won the All-Ireland, he was injured as well, and Will O'Donoghue was centre-back for the All-Ireland final. So he's Declan Hannon, as good as he was and has been unbelievable for that team, he has kind of been in and out of the team for the last maybe 3 years, you know, so he hasn't really been settled and a lot of injuries and things like that. So I don't think it's actually a major issue. Teams have been targeting, or mightn't even be targeting the Limerick centre-back. I just think Limerick are happy enough that if the centre forward scores 7 or 8 points, they're happy as long as everyone else is doing their job and we're protecting the full back line. Whoever is there, whether it's Declan Hannon, Will O'Donoghue or Kyle Hayes, or even Cathal O'Neill has played there in the league in a couple of games this year, I don't think they really mind if the centre forward scores 7 or 8 points, as long as the other 5 forwards and 2 midfielders are held to maybe a point or 2 from play. So for that reason, I don't think they're actually worried about it. There's just been a lot being said about it, whereas I think this has been going on for years. So, like, when it comes to championship, I do think Kyle Hayes will be back there, and Will O'Donoghue will be back out midfield along with Adam English, and Cian Lynch pushed up into the forwards again. But I don't think there is actually a big deal with the number 6 for Limerick than what's been said in the last couple of weeks after the Kilkenny game.
And as a former free taker, Bubbles, something that hasn't sat right with me was the boos to Darragh McCarthy when he's taking his frees, and I suppose it's from the crowd to hurry up. What have you made of all of that?
Yeah, look, again, I think there's a lot being spoke about because it's against Cork, and I suppose Tipperary beating Cork in the All-Ireland final, and then Darragh McCarthy on top of that getting sent off in the first round of the Munster Championship, or went against Sean O'Donoghue. Like, this is Darragh McCarthy's routine, and he's had this routine for a long time. You know, like last year he was new on the scene, but I remember last year or 2 years ago in an under-20 final against Offaly, it was the same thing down Nolan Park, getting booed. This is his routine. Like, he takes maybe 3 to 4 seconds longer than your average of a Patrick Horgan coming out to the midfield to take a free. I used to remember he walks out, he doesn't jog out or run out or anything like this. Like, I think it's just, there's a lot being made of it because it was Cork against Tipperary, and I suppose Tip winning the All-Ireland and Tip coming down to Cork and the 30,000 people there, and like, this is going to be water off a duck's back for Darragh McCarthy. I can guarantee he won't care about this. He'll probably take longer over the frees in the coming weeks than quickening it up. But I wouldn't be paying any attention to it as long as it's just friendly boos that are telling him to hurry up and it doesn't get nasty and get personal towards Darragh or any other player taking a free. That's when it might become an issue. But at the minute, I think, look, it's only a talking point because it's Tip against Cork, but come championship, again, you'd hope that if there is a few boos, it's only going to come from a couple of people. But as long as it doesn't get personal and nasty to the free taker, I wouldn't really see too much issue with it.
And from an opposition point of view then, Podge, is it frustrating that he takes so long?
It only really becomes a problem when time is running out. So when you give away a free around the middle of the field and you're 2 points down or 3 points down and there's 2 minutes to go and he comes out from corner forward and takes that as like that length of time over a free, probably takes a bit extra time if he's smart to slow it down a small bit. I suppose when it comes down to that, you probably would like to see maybe the ref add on a couple of seconds if it's over. Let's say if we account for 15 seconds for a free, if it goes on for whatever that it was added on. But I haven't that's the only time I'd see a manager or a player getting frustrated, when time is of the essence. But in general, like his skill level is just incredible. Like I got to watch him up close last week hitting the frees, and he just doesn't miss.
Phased.
He doesn't miss. He is a quality player, and the striking of the ball is just unbelievable. It is a great skill, and to watch it up close, it is something special. So fair play to him, and he's a great young fella. Great head in his shoulders.
Brilliant to watch.
Sorry, Ashleen, just on that, like Podge is saying there, like a manager, if a team is 2 points down and he's taking his time. But on the opposite side of it is, if Tipperary are 2 points down and there's 2 minutes left, like Darren McCarthy's not going to change his routine. So that's wasting time for his own team. So like there's pros to it and there's cons to it for both sides.
I'd be interested to see Bubbles now if he were 2 points down in the All-Ireland final and he gets a free in the 21. Does that routine change with 20 seconds to go?
Well, on the 21 right in front of the goal is a different scenario to the 65 out in the sideline, Podge, you know. So,
yeah. But
like,
but he would change it.
He's guaranteed to put that over the bar.
Yeah, well, I think he would change it if he had to, if there was 20 seconds to go. That's my opinion, Bubbles, anyway.
That's a fair point. I think that the time question is a fair point, that if, you know, there's whatever left on the clock and you're up against it and you need a score, like, I understand that. I'm just never in favour for boos.
Oh, yeah. No,
that's a no. We don't need that in our games.
No. And to be fair, like a lot of fans that were at that game and that I'd be friendly with were saying it was a bit of banter mainly.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way most people treated it.
There you go. And a bit of banter between you two, always. OK, moving on then to Dublin and Wexford, and a massive game in the context of both of their league seasons and reaching a final and gaining that promotion as well. What way do you see this one going, Podge?
Sorry, yeah.
Just in Dublin and Wexford.
Oh, yeah. Like Wexford, probably a slow start to the league, even though they got 2 wins. That game against Antrim was very nervy, last puck of the ball. Then you play down and you expect it to be a shootout, and it ends up like a 2-point game, which they probably didn't expect. Now, they got Leach in back, and we spoke about it 2 weeks ago. Like, he is just such a massive player. Like, if you're picking top 6 forwards in Ireland, if you wanted to make a fantasy team, Leach In's in your team. And we saw it against Carlow when he came on. It just changed the game. Like, it was a 1-point game at the time. Now, listen, there was accentuating circumstances with regards to a penalty and black card and everything that went on in that game. That probably changed as well. But they ended up winning that game by 10 points. And I think Lee had a big part to play in that as well. Dublin, for me, are the team of the league. Like last year, they beat Limerick. I know what they're about. They got opened up against Cork, and I know Neil would have been very disappointed. The players have been very disappointed. But like, they're still down Sean Curry, who's a massive player from at the moment. He's out injured. They're down David Carroll as well, who's just a brilliant forward. Like, I got to review him in the Fitzgibbon. He was playing at UC, but he was out injured. Today we were supposed to play him, but I got to watch him up close. Like, what a talent. So Dublin have been really impressive. What impresses me most about Dublin is their puckouts. Their just movement is brilliant. I saw them in Cusack Park, and Clare were very lucky. Like, Tony Kelly clicked into gear there for the last 10 minutes, and like, just having those kind of difference makers like Leach in. But Dublin, for me, have been the, I suppose, team of the league that I've seen that I didn't expect them to be as good as they have been. So I'd be tipping Dublin. Now, Wexford people feel I'm against them now because I kind of tipped Carlow as the wild card a couple of weeks ago. But I did have the caveat of Leaching coming in, and he did.
Yeah.
But no, I think Dublin will win this one. I just think they're a bit too far down the line with regards to trend. They just look like they're championship ready. OK. We're going to move on then to Kilkenny and Waterford. So they welcome Kilkenny, welcome Waterford to Nolan Park. So another big game this weekend. Waterford 2 points ahead of Kilkenny in the table at the minute, Bubbles. How do you see this one going? And I think we can all say that Waterford have got off to a great start, while Kilkenny, they're still missing a few bodies.
Yeah, like this for me, like I know all the attention is on Tip and Limerick, Saturday night game, but I think this could possibly be the game of the weekend. Watford are kind of riding high after their poor performance in round one, and then Kilkenny, I suppose, playing Offaly and then against Limerick. They for a long time against Limerick they were really, really impressive, and in the last 10 minutes they kind of faltered away. and that's while missing a lot of bodies and trying out players in new positions. So I think this is going to be a right cracker of a game, a very, very hard game to call. Because again, Kilkenny at home to Offaly, they kind of scraped through, and then away to Limerick they performed really well, and now they're coming home again, and Waterford have been very, very good the last 2 games. So it'll be interesting to see. I haven't seen any team from Waterford yet. If any of the Ballygunner boys are back, now I know O'Neill played cornerback against the 2 weeks ago in their last game. So it'll be interesting to see if any more of them come back, and I think this is going to be a cracker. Local derby. They know each other well, and I think the 2 teams are going to go after it fairly hard. To say who's better at the minute, I'm not. I would say that they're both probably on a par at the minute, even though Waterford are ahead by 2 points in the table.
And Offaly Galway then as well. Despite 2 losses, have you liked what you saw from Galway?
Yeah, they've been really impressive. They were very good against Tipperary first game out in again terrible conditions. They played really well. A lot of the youth that's after coming in has brought a lot of kind of enthusiasm to them. Like I've been really impressed with Trayers at full back, and then really impressed with Rabbit up front then as well. To add into the likes of your two Manions and your Dahi Burks in this. But they played well. They'll be disappointed not to have any points on the board, but they'll be happy with the performances, and they'll go into this game quietly confident. But again, Offaly, I suppose, will be disappointed with a couple of their games. But they'll probably be targeting this game as one to win for them, especially being at home and to try and get off the board with 2 points on Sunday.
Good stuff. Well, before we finish up our hurling chat, Podge, I did want to ask you about the black cards. It's been relevant the last few weeks. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I just feel like at the moment the rule probably doesn't fit hurling. It's not. So at the moment, like if you trip someone within that 25-metre area, the referee has a decision to make. By the rule, a trip is a penalty and a black card, even if it's accidental or if it's intentional. So I just feel like it's very harsh. Like 10 minutes off the field and a penalty, which have been converted in the 2 examples that come to my mind. Like in the Limerick game, Matthew Fitz stands up a player and he goes over his leg and it's a penalty and a black card, 10 minutes off the field. Decides the game for me. Wexford Carlow, point in the game. Now, like I said, Lee Chin was on the field at this stage, so I think Wexford would have won, but they get a penalty and a black card. Like Kevin MacDonald, I think he came across, Kevin Foley stepped across him, caught his ankle. Ref, by the rule book, that's a trip. That's a black card and a penalty. That's the rule book. And even the players, I was watching the game and I was just like, I'd be furious. But the players are like, that's the rule. Like, I think the players are aware it's the rule, so they nearly have to be extra careful. We played DCU in a Fitzgibbon semi-final, and our full forward, our midfielder was actually going through, and he went to take on the full back, and the full back knew, right, I'm going to pull him down. He put his 2 arms around him and took him down. For me, that could be a black card and a penalty when it's that intentional. When it's nearly like a Sean Kavanagh rugby tackle, we'll call it, on a player. That's fair enough. But like these kind of accidental trips, or when a player's trying to front up a player, it's just very harsh, and I don't think that the punishment fits the crime. Yeah,
it's an interesting one. I think we're going to come back to it definitely, because there's so much talk about it over the last few weeks, and we will definitely come back onto it. We're going to move on to our wild cards now for the hurling. So Podge, for you, who was your wild card pick this weekend?
Yeah, it's tough because I feel like the games are so well balanced, and this weekend, like Limerick Tipperary 50-50, probably go with Limerick in that one. I don't think it's a wild card game, maybe away from home. They've won the last, like you were saying, they haven't lost in the last 12 games.
Yeah.
I'll go with Waterford to beat Kilkenny. I'll go with them. I don't know the team. I know the team of players, but I don't know if the Ballygunners or lads are back. I'd assume they're going to come back in.
I think they're back in. Yeah.
I think they're going to come back into it. I think that they'll give it a lift, and I just think Waterford take great confidence for the last 2 weeks. So even though they're probably 50-50 game, they're going to go with Waterford.
Going with Waterford. Okay, and for you, Bubbles, who are you going with?
Yeah, they're all very hard games to call. I'm 1 from 1 in this. I called Kildare to beat Antrim 2 weeks ago. So I want to keep that going. I'm going to go for...
Just reminding us, yeah.
Just reminding Podge there that he didn't get his right.
You always get to dig in.
I'm going to go for Offaly to beat Galway. Now, as Podge said, the fact that Offaly are being at home probably puts it to a 50-50 game, but I just think that Offaly were probably targeting this game from day one, and they were probably targeting Waterford 2 weeks ago as well, and that didn't turn out. turn out too well. But I think Offaly are going to bring something to Sunday, and I reckon they're going to turn over Galway. So I'm going to go with Offaly for this weekend.
Okay, that's a good one. Brilliant stuff. So we have Galway and we have Offaly. Good stuff, brilliant stuff. We're going to move on now to the rest of the division fixtures this weekend in the Allianz Hurling Leagues. So we do see in Division 2 this weekend, we have Laois taking on Kerry, London host Westmeath in Ruislip, and Meath, they face Derry. In Division 3, it is the same as the football this weekend when Donegal face Armagh. The other Allianz Hurling League Division 2 game sees Fermanagh take on Tyrone and Louth face Roscommon. And in Division 4, Cavan take on Lancashire, Sligo are up against Warwickshire, and Monaghan, they face Leitrim. Thanks so much to Bubbles O'Dwyer for joining us, and we'll be chatting to him again very, very soon. Well, this is a new part of our show here on The View. Let's see what the fans think. So we put out a few questions on social media, and we're going to get the answers now. So here is our first question that we asked the supporters. How many 2-pointers will Barry McNulty score this weekend? And 51% think he's going to score 3+ or more. Well, he has been having quite a season so far. Our next one, we have the Cats or the Dacia. So you have the Dacia 40%, the Cats 60%. Well, that is a big one because the Dacia, they've been in flying form. Top of Division 3 football after this weekend, it is the Mourne men. Yes, down on 64%, Westmeath 21% and Wexford 15%. It's been very interesting in Division 3. And looking at the Orchard to right the wrongs, 50-50 on this one, Stefan. What are you thinking?
Yeah, we take it going into the weekend. Hopefully home advantage pays off.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
The athletic grounds. Moving on then to the next one. Tip to stop Limerick's 12 in a row winning streak in their history. So 61% think they can and 39% think they can't, Podge.
Yeah, I like the draw last year. No, we're excluding that and that stat.
Yeah.
But I do fancy Limerick this weekend. I think Tip are going well, but I don't think they're prioritising this weekend.
Okay, and the final one then, Meath or Cork? Sure, we know the answer to this. Meath 60%, Cork 40%. Well, I think that is a game that we're all looking forward to this weekend. So if you do want to get involved, we will have more of these questions on our social media next week. Well, it is time now for Beat the Hooter. The part you're all waiting for. You're looking forward to this. You've both played it before?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Okay, we have the leaderboard on screen here. Podge, you were second.
Yeah.
With 31 seconds. Look at that.
Not bad.
Good stuff. Stefan, I don't see your name. Oh, it's your first time.
I haven't played it.
Sorry. I was getting a dig in too early.
I thought that was the overall leaderboard there and leading me off it.
Was Bubbles last?
Was
think
Bubbles
he was,
last?
yeah,
Oh, he was
yeah.
last. Okay. We'll just let him know. We'll
Yeah,
text him
yeah.
after this. Yeah. Okay. So you know how it works, Stefan?
Yep.
70 seconds on the clock. You get 6 clues and it is a GA figure that I am describing. So it is Armagh versus Clare today. Okay. Podge, we'll let you go first since you played before. Okay, 70 seconds on the clock. Podge Collins. I made my senior debut in 1993. I have won 5 All-Stars. I am the record holder for appearances for my county. Anything there?
No, I have Clare in my head just because 93. I'm thinking Brian Lohan.
No. I won the last of my 2 All-Irelands in 2010. There's a clue on that one.
Yeah. Tipperary. 93. Jeez, 2010.
No, I led my county to the under-20 All-Ireland title last year.
Woodlock. James Woodlock. No. Jeez.
I have the most wins in Puck Fada history. This is your
Brendan
final one.
Cummins.
Brendan
Jeez.
Cummins. Stop the clock.
Oh my God, 20.
46 seconds. I was praying you got it on that
Oh
one.
my God.
Fair
What is
play to
such a
you.
Oh.
He's only a legend.
Yeah, oh my God. I'm going to get slaughtered for that one.
You got there. That's the main
Yeah.
thing. Okay, 46 seconds for Podge. Moving on then to Stefan. Ready to rock?
Let's go.
Okay, I won my first of my 6 Ulster Championships in 1995. I won a Sigerson Cup in 1996 with UCD. Anything coming to mind? No, blank. I played most of my career at wing forward.
No.
This one will help. I scored 2 points in the 2008 All-Ireland final. Who was in that final?
Brand her.
Well, hey,
What's that?
stop the clock. He shocked himself.
28.
28
Lucky.
seconds.
Oh, hammering.
That is impressive,
Wow.
and that puts you second on the leaderboard. There you go, Stefan.
Took my spot.
Podge is raging.
Yeah.
And you're going to third. It's all good. We'll get you back in again.
That one.
Okay, well, that is all we've got time for this evening. Thanks to all of the lads for joining me, to you at home for watching. Enjoy the games and enjoy the weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the view.